Hello everyone, this is your friend Naruto Fix, and we are back with another epic What If Naruto fanfic. Which is, what if Naruto became the reincarnation of the god of Shinobi? Part 1. If you love Naruto fanfics, then don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the journey with me. So, let's start the fanfic. The storm over Konoha had never raged this violently before. Thunder tore through the skies as if the heavens themselves were trembling, and lightning split the clouds into molten white scars. At the heart of that chaos stood a young man, bloodied, broken, but unyielding. His name was Naruto Uzumaki. The battlefield was littered with the fallen. Konoha shinobi, Akatsuki remnants, even rogue nations warriors, all reduced to dust in the wake of a war that seemed to have no end. The great peace Naruto once dreamed of was crumbling before his eyes. His friends had fallen one by one. Sasuke, gone. His lifeless body lay at the edge of a ruined valley, the Rinnegan dim. Sakura was nowhere to be seen, only her blood-stained gloves left behind. Kakashi, the mentor who once smiled beneath his mask, now buried under debris and silence. Naruto stood alone. The world had turned on him. The villagers no longer trusted the boy who carried the chakra of gods. They feared the Nine Tails, feared the son of the fourth Hokage who was born with a destiny they could not control. Now, even that destiny was reaching its breaking point. The awakening. Why does it always end like this? Naruto whispered, falling to his knees. Rain poured down, washing the dirt and blood from his face. His blue eyes were dull, fading, but somewhere deep inside, a fire refused to die. The remnants of Kurama's chakra flickered weakly around him. The mighty beast had given everything to save Naruto one last time. His voice echoed faintly inside Naruto's mind, tired but proud. Greater than, you've carried the burden long enough, brat. But, your story isn't over yet. Quote, Kurama. Naruto's lips trembled. Don't leave me too. Greater than, hey, don't cry, kid. You've got something greater than me now. Something ancient, something that was waiting for you all along. Naruto didn't understand, but before he could speak, the ground beneath him began to glow. Strange markings spiraled outward, ancient symbols that pulsed like living flame. His body was enveloped in golden light. A divine voice, not Kurama's, not Hagoromo's, spoke within his soul. Greater than, Naruto Uzumaki, bearer of courage and pain, you have reached the limit of human suffering. The blood of the divine flows within you, awaken, reincarnation of Shinra, the god of Shinobi. Quote, Naruto gasped as pain ripped through every nerve. His eyes burned, a golden hue replacing his blue, glowing with patterns older than the Sharingan or Rinnegan. His body rose into the storm, chakra erupting in waves that split mountains and boiled the rain mid-air. The skies turned crimson. The world trembled. Birth of a god. When the light faded, Naruto hovered above the ground, his torn cloak fluttering like the wings of a fallen angel. His chakra was no longer just energy, it was creation itself. The elements bent to him, time slowed in his presence. Every drop of rain hung suspended around him like tiny stars. He could feel everything, every heartbeat in the world, every dying soul, every tear shed by those he once vowed to protect. Greater than, so much, pain, Naruto whispered. All because we never learned to understand each other. But his voice carried no sadness now, only divine authority. He raised his hand, and with a single thought, the ruined battlefield rewove itself. Grass sprouted from scorched earth. The dead stirred, their wounds closing. Life returned to the lifeless, but their eyes were hollow. They bowed before him, not in gratitude, but in worship. Naruto flinched. No, this isn't what I wanted. Greater than, you are beyond want, the voice of Shinra echoed. You are the balance itself. The god of Shinobi had returned through him. The nations fear. When word spread, the other nations panicked. The 5 Kage gathered in haste, their voices trembling. Gaara was the only one who defended him. Naruto would never harm us. He's our ally. But the others saw only danger. The Raikage slammed his fist on the table. Ally. He's a god now. One wrong move and he can erase entire villages. The Mizukage added softly, he brought back the dead, eh? That's not mercy, it's control. And in the shadowed corner, the aged Tsuchikage muttered, no man should have the power of creation. Not even Naruto Uzumaki. They decided to act, forming a secret alliance, the Shinobi Coalition of Fear, to seal or destroy Naruto before his divinity consumed the world. The lonely deity, Naruto, unaware of their schemes, wandered through the ruins of Konoha. The village he once loved now rebuilt itself automatically at his command. Walls formed from chakra, homes reconstructed from dust. But there were no smiles. No laughter, only silence. The villagers hid from him, whispering prayers as if he were some wrathful deity. Children pointed from afar, their parents pulling them back in terror. Naruto's heart shattered. I just wanted peace. He stood before the Hokage monument, the stone faces staring back at him. Minato's carved smile seemed to mock him now. Greater than, Father, was I wrong? The wind answered with cold indifference. Even nature seemed to bow, not comfort him. He was no longer a man. He was a god forced to walk among mortals. The betrayal. A week later, the coalition struck. They came in the dead of night, an army of the strongest shinobi from every nation, led by Gaara himself, forced into the mission by the others. Forgive me, Naruto, Gaara murmured as sealing symbols burned in the air. Naruto didn't resist. When the first attack hit, he merely raised his hand, and time froze. He looked around at the countless shinobi hanging mid-motion, their kunai suspended in air. His eyes glowed with divine sorrow. Greater than, even now, you fear what you don't understand. He snapped his fingers lightly. The army vanished in a burst of light, teleported back to their homes, unconscious but unharmed. Only Gaara remained awake. Naruto faced him, tears shimmering like molten gold. You too, Gaara. Gaara fell to his knees. I had no choice. They said you'd become something else, that you'd lose yourself. Naruto smiled faintly. Maybe they're right. And with that, he vanished into the void. The realm beyond time. He appeared in a vast white expanse, neither earth nor heaven. Floating before him was the spirit of Hagoromo Otsutsuki, the sage of 6 paths. Grandfather, what's happening to me? Naruto asked. Hagoromo's expression was grave. You've awakened something that even I could never control. Shinra, the first wielder of chakra, the being who created our world, his soul was searching for a vessel pure enough to balance creation and destruction. It chose you. Naruto clenched his fists. Then take it back. I don't want this power if it means losing myself. Hagoromo shook his head. Once the god's will awakens, it cannot be undone. But, it can be guided. You must master it before it consumes everything, including your soul. Naruto looked down, determination flickering in his divine eyes. Then I'll master it. I won't let this world fall again. The sage smiled faintly. You have the heart of a true god, Naruto Uzumaki. The divine training. Naruto entered isolation. For years, though time meant nothing now, he trained within the realm of gods. He learned to mold reality, to balance destruction and creation. He could summon storms with a whisper, calm volcanoes with a breath, and restore entire nations with a gesture. Yet the more he mastered it, the more he felt detached from humanity. Memories of his friends faded. Their faces blurred. He could recall laughter, but not warmth. Smiles, but not joy. Until one day, he found a single memory that refused to fade, Hinata Hyuga's smile. It pulled him back from the edge of divinity, grounding him in his humanity. Greater than, Hinata, I remember your words. You believed in me when the world didn't. Maybe that's what it means to be human. He returned to the world. The return of the god of Shinobi. Decades had passed in the mortal realm, though to Naruto it felt like days. The world had changed, nations merged, technology evolved, chakra weaponized. People spoke of gods as myths, unaware that one still walked among them. Naruto appeared in the middle of a modern Konoha, towering buildings, energy lights, and drones powered by synthetic chakra. He wore simple robes now, his golden eyes hidden beneath a hood. He wandered the streets quietly. Children laughed. The world was at peace, but not the peace he envisioned. The shinobi system was gone. Greed and technology ruled instead of ninjutsu and honor. Then he saw it, people enslaved by corporations, chakra mined from artificial biju. The world had forgotten the wall of fire. His heart ached. Greater than, so this is the peace I died for. Anger surged within him, not hatred, but divine fury. His chakra spread across the globe like wildfire, awakening the ancient flow of natural energy. The skies darkened once more, the same way they had centuries ago when he first ascended. All beings felt it, the pulse of a god returning. The judgment begins. World leaders trembled as golden light filled the skies. From every nation, people looked up as a figure descended slowly, cloaked in celestial aura, eyes glowing like suns. It was Naruto Uzumaki, but not as a man. As the god of Shinobi reborn. Greater than humans, his voice echoed across dimensions, you have forgotten your roots. The chakra that was meant to unite you became your weapon of greed. Lightning tore through the heavens as he raised his hand. Nations shook, mountains crumbled, yet amid the chaos, a single voice cried out, an old woman clutching her child. Please, have mercy, we are not our ancestors. Naruto paused. Her eyes reminded him of Hinata's. That same innocent faith. The divine energy halted mid-air. Naruto closed his eyes. Perhaps, I've lost my way too. He knelt, pressing his palm to the earth. Golden light flowed through the planet, purifying corruption, neutralizing weapons, and restoring balance to nature. The earth healed, rivers cleared, forests reborn. The people bowed in awe. Greater than, remember this day, Naruto said softly. The power of the gods is not to rule, but to remind you of who you are. With that, he vanished in a burst of golden wind. Epilogue, the legend eternal. Centuries later, stories spread of a golden figure who walked the earth once every 1,000 years to restore balance. They called him Shinra Reborn, the eternal sage, the god of Shinobi. But in the deepest corners of time, in a small field of flowers outside a rebuilt Konoha, a hooded figure knelt before a single gravestone engraved with one name. Hinata Uzumaki. Naruto smiled faintly, his golden eyes shimmering with warmth. Even gods can still love. He placed a flower on her grave, and for the first time in millennia, tears of pure light fell from the eyes of a god. The storm passed. Peace, at last, was not something he created, it was something he finally felt. The winds over Konoha had grown eerily still. Ever since the golden storm faded, the world had been quiet, too quiet. Crops grew faster, the oceans glowed softly at night, and even the old scars of war had vanished as if they never existed. People called it a miracle. But to the gods that watched from beyond, it was a disturbance. The ripples of divinity. High above the mortal plane, beyond the stars, a rift trembled through the void. From that infinite darkness emerged beings made of light and shadow, ancient entities who once guided the flow of chakra itself. They were the Eternals, the architects of existence. One of them, with eyes like burning silver, looked down upon the earth. Greater than, the balance has shifted. The power of Shinra breathes once more through mortal flesh. Another voice, cold as starlight, replied. Greater than, he has awakened what was sealed for eons. The cycle of creation cannot be ruled by one being again. Quote, the first being nodded slowly. Greater than, then the trial must begin. If Naruto Uzumaki truly bears the soul of Shinra, let him prove his divinity. And the stars themselves began to move. The silent years. Naruto wandered the new world quietly. He lived in shadows, never revealing his face, watching humanity rebuild and evolve. He saw cities powered by chakra reactors, people learning to live without war, and children playing freely under skies once filled with fire. He should have felt peace. But deep within, he sensed it, an imbalance growing. The natural chakra he had restored began to overflow, seeping into the fabric of reality. The land thrived too much, animals grew abnormally large, storms became sentient forces. Nature itself was becoming alive. One day, as Naruto walked through the ruins of what was once the Valley of the End, the statues of Madara and Hashirama began to crack. A voice whispered through the air. Greater than, you meddled with what was meant to die. Naruto froze. The ground trembled, and from the broken stone emerged figures made of raw chakra, spectral forms of Hashirama Senju and Madara Uchiha, reborn as guardians of balance. The first challenge, Hashirama and Madara. Naruto Uzumaki, Madara's voice thundered, deep and disdainful. You've surpassed us all, but tell me, did you think you could wield the power of a god without consequence? Quote, Hashirama's spirit glowed beside him, calm but stern. Your heart is pure, Naruto, but purity without control brings ruin. The world bends beneath you, not with you. Naruto stared at him, golden eyes shimmering. Then what should I do? Watch it crumble again. I saved them. Madara laughed darkly. You didn't save them. You replaced their struggle with dependence. You made them worship you. The words struck deep. Naruto clenched his fists, the air rippling around him. I never asked for worship. Then prove it, Hashirama said, raising his hand as trees erupted from the ground, roots of living chakra binding the sky. Defeat us not with destruction, but with balance. Madara's eternal Mangekyo spun beside him, merging into a spectral flame. Let's see if a god still remembers how to fight like a shinobi. The Battle of Legends. The world shook. Naruto moved first, faster than thought, faster than time. His chakra flared, splitting into thousands of radiant clones that surrounded the valley. Each one pulsed with golden light, wielding the power of creation. Madara grinned. Finally, a worthy enemy again. The sky turned crimson as Susanoo formed around Madara's spirit, colossal and burning with black fire. Hashirama answered with his wood golem, merging both forms until the entire valley became a battlefield of divine proportions. Naruto unleashed his power. Wind, fire, water, lightning, earth, every element merged into pure energy. With a motion of his hand, he forged a new Rasengan, not of chakra, but of reality itself, swirling with galaxies. He thrust it forward, colliding with Madara's spectral blade. The explosion that followed could be seen from space. When the light faded, the valley was gone, replaced by a crater filled with shimmering liquid chakra. Naruto stood at the center, panting, his eyes dimming slightly. The spirits of Hashirama and Madara reformed, kneeling before him. Enough, Hashirama said softly. You've proven it. You do not fight for dominance. Quote, Madara smirked faintly. TCH, you're still the same fool. Maybe that's why you're worthy. Naruto blinked. Worthy. Hashirama placed a hand on his shoulder. The gods above will test you next. We were but the beginning. Quote, and with that, their forms dissolved into light, merging back into the flow of nature. The descent of the Eternals. Soon after, the sky split open once more. A golden portal descended upon the world, radiating divine energy so immense that even the moon cracked slightly under its pull. From it stepped three figures, each more radiant and terrifying than anything the world had ever seen. Solara, the eternal of creation, wings made of sunlight, eyes like molten gold. Nocturne, the eternal of destruction, a being of shadow and silence, his form constantly shifting. Vaira, the eternal of judgment, a neutral entity, face masked, voice layered with echoes of countless souls. They looked upon Naruto like parents gazing at a wayward child. Greater than, Naruto Uzumaki, Solara said, her voice melodic but heavy with power. You carry within you the essence of Shinra. That power is not yours, it is ours. Naruto straightened. I don't belong to anyone. This power chose me. Greater than, then you must bear its burden, Nocturne rumbled, darkness coiling around him. You restored life where death was meant to reign. You disrupted the flow. Vaira stepped forward, raising a hand. You will stand trial, before all realms. The ground beneath Naruto glowed as divine chains erupted, trying to bind him. But before they could touch him, his aura flared, breaking them like glass. Golden eyes met the divine gaze. Greater than, if you want to judge me, come and see what I've become. The trial of the god of Shinobi. They clashed across realities. Naruto and the Eternals fought not on Earth, but within the threads of creation itself. Stars shattered as their energy collided. Galaxies dimmed under the sheer magnitude of their power. Solara summoned suns, Nocturne devoured them, and Naruto stood at the center, his body glowing with celestial light. He moved like a storm, each strike a rewriting of existence, each breath an act of creation and destruction intertwined. Yet the Eternals pressed on, relentless. You can't win. Solara shouted. You are one spark of the divine, we are the source. Naruto roared, golden chakra erupting from his form. Greater than, then I'll rewrite the source. Quote. He pressed his hands together, and from his body radiated the 6 paths of divinity. Truth-seeking orbs turned into planets of light revolving around him. Each one represented a fundamental force: life, death, time, will, love, and balance. He extended his hand, merging them into one. The Shinra core. When he released it, the explosion rewrote the void itself. The Eternals were thrown back, the divine forms cracking. Vaira, half disintegrated, looked at him in awe. You are not just Shinra reborn. You are his evolution. Naruto floated silently, his expression calm but sorrowful. I never wanted to be a god. But if being one means protecting what's left of humanity, then I'll bear that sin. Quote. With a whisper, he unleashed the final wave, light and darkness merging perfectly. The Eternals fell. After the battle, when Naruto returned to Earth, centuries had passed again. The world had stabilized. Nature thrived in harmony, and the people no longer used chakra as a weapon but as art, meditation, and healing. He walked through the new Konoha, now more like a living forest city, and watched children play under cherry blossoms infused with chakra light. They looked at him with curiosity, not fear. To them, he was just a traveler. A little girl ran up to him. Mister, you look sad. Are you lost? Naruto smiled gently. Maybe a little. She handed him a small blue flower. Then take this. Mama says flowers help people find their way home. Naruto looked at the flower, its petals glowing faintly with natural chakra, the same energy he once fought for. He felt a warmth spread through his chest, something purely human. He knelt. Thank you. What's your name? Hinami. She beamed. For a moment, he froze. That name, so close to Hinata, stirred something deep within him. He smiled again, tears glinting in the golden light. Then, Hinami, I think you just reminded me where home is. The whisper of the divine. That night, Naruto stood atop the Hokage monument, watching the stars. The winds whispered around him, carrying faint voices: Solara, Nocturne, Vaira, now at peace. Greater than, you've done what none of us could. You became not a god above mortals, but one who walks among them. Naruto smiled faintly. Then maybe, that's what being the god of Shinobi really means. His cloak fluttered in the wind as his golden eyes looked upon the horizon where dawn began to rise. And for the first time in eternity, Naruto Uzumaki, the reincarnation of the god of Shinobi, felt at peace not as a god, but as a man. What if Naruto became the reincarnation of the god of Shinobi? Part 1, In a Struggle continuation. The moon hung motionless above the world, frozen in its orbit as if even the heavens feared to move beneath his gaze. Naruto stood on the highest cliff of the reborn Konoha, the wind whispering through his golden hair. The valley below shimmered with life, rivers glowing faintly with chakra, trees breathing softly like sleeping giants. It was paradise, but inside him, silence screamed. For years, or maybe centuries, time no longer obeyed him. Naruto had wandered the earth unseen. The people he once protected no longer remembered his name, only legends. He was no longer Naruto Uzumaki, the knuckle-headed ninja. He was Shinra reborn, the eternal guardian. Worshipped, feared, forgotten. He watched the villagers laugh, trade, fall in love, things he could no longer feel. Every emotion he once knew had dulled into echoes. Greater than, Kurama, he whispered to the wind, though the fox's chakra had long since faded. You always said I'd end up talking to myself. The air remained still, answering with the same emptiness that filled him. The quiet curse. Immortality wasn't peace, it was repetition. Every sunrise looked the same, every sunset a copy of the one before. He'd tried to sleep, to dream, to fade, but even dreams bent to his will. His body refused decay, his soul refused rest. He could create galaxies, but he couldn't bring back laughter the way it once sounded in his ears. Sometimes, he'd close his eyes and imagine Team 7 walking beside him again, Sasuke's quiet smirk, Sakura's scolding voice, Kakashi's lazy calm. He would speak to them aloud, pretending they were there. "Hey, Sasuke," he murmured once, walking through an empty forest. "Remember when we fought at the Valley of the End? You said I'd never beat you. Guess what, I still don't know if I did." Leaves rustled in answer, nothing more. He smiled sadly. "Yeah, figures. The Mirror of Gods." In an abandoned temple deep within the Land of Iron, Naruto discovered something strange, a mirror made not of glass, but of chakra crystal. It was said to show the true soul of anyone who looked into it. When he gazed upon it, he didn't see his reflection. He saw a stranger, eyes like burning suns, skin glowing faintly with divine energy, markings of celestial script running down his arms. The boy who once stumbled through the academy was gone. In his place stood a being who could erase and recreate worlds. "Greater than, who are you?" he whispered. The reflection smiled. "I'm what you wanted to become, the one who could save everyone." Naruto's heart twisted. "I didn't want this, but you did," the reflection answered. "Every time you said I'll protect them no matter what, you walked closer to me." Naruto's fists trembled. "You're lying." The reflection tilted its head. "Then why can't you cry anymore?" He froze. He hadn't realized it until that moment, but it was true. His eyes could shine like stars, yet no tears would fall. The well of humanity inside him had run dry. The illusion of companionship. Desperate for connection, Naruto began to recreate his friends. Not through jutsu, but through divine memory. He shaped chakra into forms: Sasuke, Sakura, Kakashi, even Hinata, each identical to how they'd once been. They laughed, sparred, shared ramen at Ichiraku's recreated stand. For a time, it felt real. Until one day, the Hinata copy smiled and said, "You're lonely again, aren't you?" Naruto froze. "You're not supposed to know that." Quote. Her expression softened. "Because I'm you. Every face here is yours. You made us from your loneliness." And then, one by one, the illusions dissolved into golden dust, leaving him alone in the silent ramen shop. He sat there for hours, staring at the empty bowls. Greater than, guess even gods can't fake happiness. The shadow of humanity. As centuries passed, mortals changed again. Villages became empires. Chakra turned into energy grids, weapons, technology. They used his name as a brand, his teachings as law, but no one knew him. He was everywhere and nowhere. Then one night, he felt something strange, a pull deep inside his chest. Someone was calling him, not through prayer or worship, through emotion. He followed the call to a small mountain village. There, a boy no older than 12 knelt beside a dying mother, crying, begging for her to live. Naruto watched silently from the shadows. The boy whispered, "Please, if the god of Shinobi is real, save her." Naruto's hand twitched. He could do it. With a thought, he could breathe life into her again. But something inside him stopped him, Hagoromo's old words echoing in his mind. Greater than, every life saved unnaturally takes meaning from death. He hesitated. The mother exhaled her last breath, smiling weakly at her son. The boy screamed, and Naruto's heart cracked again. Later, as the boy buried her, Naruto appeared beside him in disguise. "Why are you crying?" he asked softly. The boy glared. "Because no god listened." Naruto looked down. "Maybe gods aren't meant to interfere. Then what good are they?" The boy spat. "If they can't understand pain, they shouldn't exist." Quote. Naruto stared at him, stunned. The words pierced deeper than any blade. When the boy left, Naruto stood alone beside the grave. For the first time in centuries, he whispered. Greater than, maybe he's right. The return of the wind. That night, as he wandered through the forest, the wind began to sing. A faint, familiar voice drifted within it, soft, gentle, loving. Greater than, you're still fighting, aren't you, Naruto? Quote. He froze. Hinata. The wind swirled around him, forming her silhouette, translucent, glowing. I'm not really here, the voice said. Just a memory you held onto too tightly. He reached out, hand trembling. I don't care. Stay, please. She smiled sadly. You became everything you dreamed of, but forgot why you dreamed at all. Naruto fell to his knees. I just wanted peace. Peace, she whispered, comes from hearts that can break. Yours can't break anymore. Her form began to fade. Naruto grabbed at the air, desperate. Don't go, don't. But the wind carried her away. Only a single lavender petal remained, glowing faintly before dissolving in his palm. Naruto screamed into the emptiness, the sound echoing through mountains, shaking the world itself. The fading soul. From that day on, something inside him began to wither. The golden light that once surrounded him dimmed, flickering like a dying star. When he looked into the mirror again, his reflection smiled cruelly. Greater than, you're losing your divinity. Naruto exhaled. Maybe that's not a bad thing. The reflection tilted its head. If you fade, the world will collapse with you. Your existence keeps reality stable. He looked up sharply. Then so be it. Maybe they deserve a world that isn't bound to me. The reflection laughed, a dark, echoing sound. You'd sacrifice eternity for emotion. For weakness. Naruto's gaze hardened. That weakness made me who I was. He raised his hand, and shattered the mirror. The last human moment. Years later, a storm swept across the lands, not of rage, but of farewell. The people looked up to see golden lights raining down from the heavens, unaware that it was the essence of the Guardian dispersing. Naruto walked through the valley where it had all begun, the place where he'd fought Sasuke, the place where he'd first died and been reborn. He sat by the riverbank, the same spot where Team 7 once rested after missions. The water reflected his face, half divine, half human. He smiled faintly. Guess this is where it ends. He looked at the sky. I saved them all, but I couldn't save myself. His golden aura flickered softly, blending with the sunset. As his body began to dissolve into pure chakra, memories flashed, Iruka's proud smile, Jiraiya's laughter, Hinata's gentle touch, Sasuke's rivalry, Kakashi's quiet pride. Greater than, thank you, for making me human. With that whisper, the god of Shinobi closed his eyes. The earth trembled gently, not in fear, but in reverence. Flowers bloomed where his light fell. The rivers glowed with warmth. When the people came searching, they found nothing but a swirl of golden petals floating downstream. Legacy eternal. 1,000 years later, children gathered in the rebuilt Konoha's central garden. Their teacher, a kind-eyed woman, told them stories. Long ago, she said, there was a man who could talk to gods and storms. But he wasn't perfect, he cried, he failed, he loved. And that's why he saved the world. Quote, one curious child raised his hand. Sensei, what was his name? She smiled, glancing at the mural where a golden-haired figure stood beside other Hokage. His name, she said softly, was Naruto Uzumaki, the man who taught even gods how to feel. Quote, the children clapped. The wind stirred gently through the blossoms, carrying laughter through the air. Somewhere far above, beyond mortal sight, a faint voice chuckled warmly. Greater than, hey, believe it. And the golden light of the setting sun glimmered, like the smile of a god who had finally found peace. What if Naruto became the reincarnation of the god of Shinobi? Part 1 continuation. The night sky above Konoha was unnaturally still. Clouds froze mid-drift, birds hung motionless in the air, and even the whisper of wind dared not disturb the quiet that surrounded Naruto Uzumaki. He stood at the center of the Hokage monument, the full moon casting its pale light upon his golden hair. Yet the boy's usual warmth, that burning spark of optimism, was gone. His eyes, once filled with boundless energy, glowed with divine clarity, like two molten orbs that saw the weave of the world itself. Inside him, silence was an illusion. Beneath the calm, two storms collided. A human heart, forged by pain, friendship, and love. And something else, older than time itself, watching through Naruto's body like a forgotten god stirring from its eternal sleep. The whisper in the flame. Do you feel it, child? The voice echoed inside Naruto's mind, deep, ancient, and impossibly vast. It wasn't Kurama. This presence didn't growl or rage, it simply was. Timeless, absolute. I I don't know what's happening, Naruto muttered, clutching his head as the earth beneath him trembled faintly. Why does everything feel so heavy? Because your mortal form strains to contain what it was never meant to hold. You are not merely human, Naruto Uzumaki. You are my echo, my rebirth. Naruto fell to his knees. Visions flooded his mind, wars fought before chakra even existed, civilizations long erased, and a colossal being, wreathed in shimmering light, weaving chakra into existence with his bare hands. His touch gave rise to gods, demons, and men alike. That being was him. The god of Shinobi, the true progenitor of chakra itself, the one who had shaped the balance of creation before even Hagoromo's birth. His name had been forgotten, buried beneath myths and rewritten history. But now, he stirred again, through Naruto. Kurama's unease. Within the seal, Kurama roared. Naruto, don't listen to that thing. Its power isn't yours, it's something else. Naruto staggered forward, gripping his chest. Kurama, it's not just a voice. It's me. I can feel everything. Every life, every chakra thread, every heartbeat in this world. Quote, Kurama's tails lashed, shaking the void of the mindscape. Then shut it out. Power like that isn't meant for a human. You'll lose yourself. Naruto raised his gaze. Maybe that's already happening. The light around him dimmed, shifting to a haunting glow that pulsed with his heartbeat. The god's chakra flowed like liquid fire through his veins, rewriting everything that made him human. His scars disappeared, his breath steadied, too perfect, too divine. Visions of mortality. Suddenly, Naruto found himself standing not on the Hokage monument, but in a field of memories. He saw Iruka, smiling awkwardly as he handed him the forehead protector. He saw Sasuke, their first clash at the Valley of the End. He saw Hinata, kneeling in the snow, confessing her love through trembling lips. He saw every face that had ever believed in him, and every one that had betrayed him. The godly voice whispered again. Why cling to them? Mortals are fleeting. Their love dies. Their promises fade. You are beyond such weakness. Naruto's fists clenched. No, you're wrong. I fought for them. For the dreams. For the future. And yet they will all die, Naruto. Even if you save them today, time will erase them. What is the purpose of protecting what cannot last? The words sliced through his heart. For the first time, Naruto felt the crushing truth of eternity, the realization that divinity wasn't freedom. It was loneliness. Echoes of the past. He saw Hagoromo, kneeling before a vast cosmic tree. He saw Kaguya, weeping as the world turned on her. He saw Madara, Hashirama, Itachi, all bound by fate, all consumed by power or guilt. And in each reflection, Naruto saw himself. The destined hero, the chosen one, the savior, the cursed. The god's presence grew stronger. Accept what you are. Accept that you were born to surpass all. Let go of humanity, and the world will kneel. Quote, Naruto's eyes dimmed to a deep gold, almost lifeless. His chakra flared, spreading across nations in invisible waves. In faraway lands, mountains trembled, oceans rose, and animals knelt as if recognizing a divine return. The world felt his awakening. The world reacts. In Konoha, the fifth Hokage, Tsunade, felt her heartbeat freeze. Her sake bottle shattered as the walls trembled. What the hell is this chakra? She whispered, rushing to the window. Even from miles away, she could see the monument glowing faintly under the moonlight. Far across the deserts of Suna, Gaara opened his eyes mid-meditation. His sand stilled. Naruto, he murmured, what have you become? Quote, and deep within the mountains, Sasuke Uchiha, training in silence, dropped his sword as his Sharingan burned with crimson light. That chakra, it's beyond even the sage. Damn it, Naruto, what are you doing? Quote, the world that had once seen Naruto as a savior now trembled before his divinity. The shattering point. Back atop the monument, Naruto's vision blurred. His mortal mind screamed against the divine consciousness overwhelming it. He saw flashes, himself destroying villages by accident, people calling him a god and a monster in the same breath. He saw Sasuke trying to stop him, and failing. He screamed, and the heavens responded. Thunder cracked open the clouds, raining molten lightning onto the forests below. But within that storm, a single tear rolled down Naruto's cheek. A tear, not of pain, but of loss. I didn't ask for this power, I just wanted to protect them. Quote, the voice of the god sighed within him, sorrowful yet unyielding. And yet, protection demands control. The weak must submit for peace to exist. Peace doesn't need submission, Naruto shouted. It needs trust, love, understanding, everything that makes us human. Quote, his words echoed, splitting reality around him. For a brief moment, the god hesitated, as though the mortal heart it had awakened within Naruto was strong enough to fight back. But that moment faded, and the divine voice whispered, then let us see if your humanity can withstand eternity. The test of the eternal flame. Naruto found himself standing in a void of light and darkness, facing his own reflection. But this reflection wasn't him, it was the god's form, tall, radiant, wrapped in golden fire and adorned with symbols of forgotten languages. The figure spoke with Naruto's voice, yet colder. You are me, and I am you. But there can only be one truth. Which one survives, the man or the god? Naruto clenched his fists, trembling. I'm not letting you take everything I am. Then fight, the god said, spreading his arms as the void erupted in storms of chakra. Naruto's Rasengan roared to life, but this time, it wasn't blue, it was white, burning with the essence of creation itself. The god's power struck back, forming a blade of pure energy. Every clash echoed like the birth of a new universe. As they fought, fragments of Naruto's memories shattered around them like glass, his childhood loneliness, his laughter with Team 7, the promise to never give up. Each memory destroyed weakened his human side. Still, he refused to yield. The voice of Kurama. In the middle of that chaos, a familiar growl shook the void. Oi! Naruto, you idiot! Kurama's colossal form broke through the light, his tails sweeping aside divine energy. You think you're alone in this fight? You're not. Naruto gasped as Kurama's chakra wrapped around him, reigniting his will. The fox's eyes burned fiercely. You once made me believe in humans. Don't let this overgrown ghost take that away. Quote, Naruto smiled faintly. Hey, guess I still need you after all. Kurama smirked. You always will. Together, they charged, human and beast, mortal and immortal, colliding with the god in a blinding storm of chakra that shook the fabric of existence. Aftermath, the price of divinity. When the light faded, Naruto stood alone again on the monument. His body trembled, half his cloak burned away, his eyes flickering between blue and gold. He had won, for now, but the god's power still pulsed within him, whispering. I am not gone, Naruto. I am you. You cannot destroy what you are. Naruto stared at his trembling hands. He could still feel every life in the world, every breath, every sorrow. He could end all suffering with a thought, but at the cost of becoming something no longer human. He whispered to himself, voice barely audible. I'll find another way. I won't let godhood erase who I am. And as dawn broke, the first light touched his face, half divine, half mortal, caught between salvation and damnation. The sunrise over Konoha bled gold across the ruined clouds. Naruto stood motionless on the Hokage monument, his cloak fluttering in the morning wind. The city below still slept, unaware that their protector now carried within him something older than creation itself. Yet inside Naruto, there was no peace. Only whispers. Greater than you cannot deny me forever. The voice coiled around his heart like smoke. It didn't shout or command, it simply existed, patient, inevitable. Naruto pressed a trembling hand to his chest. I can still be me, I just have to remember who I am. He looked down at the village. The same streets he once ran through as a lonely child. The same rooftops where he promised Iruka that he'd make everyone recognize him. Now he could feel every heartbeat in those streets. Every hope, every fear, every faint wish for another day of peace. That should have comforted him. Instead, it broke him. The weight of every soul. It began quietly, a dull ache behind his eyes, then a flood of sensations. He felt a farmer in the land of wind collapse from exhaustion. He felt a mother in the land of lightning whisper a bedtime story to her child. He felt a shinobi on guard duty wonder if he would ever see his family again. Millions of voices, all at once. They didn't scream, they lived, and Naruto felt each one as if it were his own heartbeat. "Stop, please stop," he gasped, clutching his head. The god's tone was almost kind. "Greater than this is truth. To be divine is to carry the weight of all life. You wanted to protect them, so feel them." Naruto fell to his knees. Tears burned his eyes, not from pain but from the unbearable intimacy of it all. Every death felt like his own. Every joy stabbed like guilt. He had once believed being Hokage meant understanding everyone. Now he truly did, and it was suffocating. Kurama's plea. Within the seal, Kurama paced restlessly. The fox's usual arrogance had vanished, replaced by raw concern. "Kid, listen to me," he growled. "You can't keep all that inside. You'll tear yourself apart." Naruto's voice echoed weakly into the mindscape. "I can't let go, Kurama. If I stop feeling him, I'll become like him." Kurama bared his fangs. "And if you keep this up, there won't be a you left to fight him." Naruto stood, the air around his physical body shimmering as his chakra fluctuated violently. The ground beneath the monument cracked. "I just need to hold on a little longer," he whispered. "Just until I figure it out." Memories as anchors. He forced himself to breathe, slow, deliberate. He pictured faces, one by one, like anchors thrown into a storm. Iruka's proud smile. Jiraiya's laugh. Kakashi's lazy eye smile. Hinata's quiet faith. Sasuke's challenge. Each memory steadied him, pulling him back from the blinding flood of sensations. Then he heard another voice, not divine, not human, but a whisper from memory. "Greater than never give up, Naruto. No matter what." His chest tightened. Ero Sennin. For a moment the god's presence recoiled, as though even divinity feared the strength of a mortal bond. Naruto seized that moment and forced the voices to quiet. The world exhaled with him. The wind returned, the clouds moved again. The still point. He sat cross-legged atop the monument, eyes closed, trying to separate himself from the endless stream of life he could feel. Hours passed, or maybe seconds, time itself bent strangely around him now. At last, a fragile calm settled. Inside the stillness, he spoke to the presence. "Why me? Why choose me of all people?" The answer came like a memory older than stars. "Greater than because you were the only soul who could bear both light and shadow without shattering. The others before you sought power for dominance. You seek it for love. Then let me keep that love," Naruto pleaded. "Don't take it away from me. Greater than love is a chain, Naruto Uzumaki. To rule the cosmos, you must be unbound." He opened his eyes. "Then I'd rather stay chained." Silence followed, a silence that almost felt like respect. Visions of tomorrow. The god tested him. Images flooded his mind again, not of the past but of possible futures. A world where he accepted godhood and erased conflict entirely, no war, no pain, but no choice. Another where he rejected it and watched humanity destroy itself again in endless cycles. Both futures ended in loneliness. Greater than sea. Even your compassion births despair. Mortality cannot sustain peace. Naruto shook his head. Maybe peace doesn't last forever. But that's what makes it worth fighting for. The light around him pulsed violently, reacting to his defiance. Kurama braced himself as the seal trembled. "Kid, you're tearing the balance again." Naruto gritted his teeth. "Then I'll rebuild it, on my own terms." Human pain. He stood and looked down at his hands. Despite the divine aura, they were still the same scarred hands that once held ramen bowls and formed clumsy seals. He remembered the sting of rejection, the ache of loneliness. Those memories hurt, but they were his. They reminded him he was alive. He clenched his fists. "I'll keep that pain. I need it. Greater than why cherish weakness. Because weakness teaches us to care. If I forget what it feels like to hurt, I'll forget why I wanted to protect anyone in the first place." For the first time, the voice hesitated. The divine certainty wavered, replaced by something almost human, curiosity. "Greater than you truly believe imperfection is strength." Naruto smiled faintly. Yeah, it's what makes us real. Flicker of humanity. The god's power dimmed, folding inward. Naruto felt his body stabilize. The overwhelming sensory flood eased to a manageable hum. He could still sense the world, but now it was distant, like hearing rain on a far-off roof. He realized he'd found a rhythm, a fragile coexistence between mortal and divine. Kurama's sigh echoed inside him. You did it, you stubborn brat. Naruto chuckled weakly. Hey, guess I'm not done yet. But the victory felt hollow. He could already sense the god waiting, silent, patient, knowing eternity favored it. Humanity was fleeting, divinity endured. All he could do was delay the inevitable. A lonely evening. As night returned, he descended from the monument and walked through Konoha's quiet streets. The lamps glowed softly. The scent of ramen drifted from Ichiraku's stall. Tsuki looked up as Naruto passed. Hey, Naruto, haven't seen you all day. You look exhausted, kid. Come grab a bowl. For a heartbeat, Naruto wanted to step inside, to laugh, to pretend everything was normal. But he saw his reflection in the shop window, eyes glowing faintly gold, too bright, too alien. He forced a smile. Maybe later, old man. I've got some things to figure out. Tsuki waved. Don't work yourself to death, you hear. Quote. Naruto walked on, the warmth of ordinary life brushing against the edges of his divinity like a comforting dream he could no longer enter. The quiet collapse. He returned to his apartment. Everything was exactly as he'd left it, messy, cluttered, alive. He sat on the floor and stared at the photo of Team 7. Sakura smiling. Sasuke pretending not to. Kakashi standing behind them with that lazy grin. Naruto traced the frame with a finger. I'm still here, guys, he whispered. I'm still me. But the god's whisper came again, gentler now. Greater than for how long? Naruto closed his eyes. As long as it takes. Dream of fireflies. Sleep didn't come easily. When it did, it brought dreams, soft, warm, painfully human. He found himself back in the field outside Konoha, surrounded by fireflies. The night air smelled of summer. Hinata stood a few steps away, smiling shyly. You look tired, Naruto-kun, she said. He laughed awkwardly. Guess saving the world doesn't come with vacation days. She reached out, touching his hand. Then rest. Just for tonight. The warmth of her touch spread through him, real and unreal at once. For the first time in what felt like eternity, he felt normal. The god watched from the shadows of his mind, silent. It didn't interfere. Perhaps even divinity envied moments like this. Awakening. When he woke, dawn was breaking again. The storm inside had quieted. The god's presence lingered, but it no longer dominated, it observed, waiting for him to slip. Kurama's deep voice rumbled, almost fond. You've got more guts than sense, Naruto. Naruto smiled faintly. Guess that's what makes me human. He stood, stretched, and looked toward the horizon. The world felt fragile beneath his gaze, every living thing glowing faintly with chakra threads only he could see. He could reshape it all. End suffering forever. But he wouldn't, not if it meant losing what it meant to feel. Epilogue of Part 1. That morning, villagers saw their Hokage walking the streets, smiling, greeting everyone as if nothing had changed. But when he passed, flowers subtly turned toward him, rivers shimmered brighter, and the wind carried whispers of reverence. No one understood what they felt, only that being near him made their hearts lighter. Naruto noticed too, and it scared him. He whispered to the unseen presence, "You're still here. Greater than always. Then keep watching. I'll prove that a human heart can hold a god without breaking." The reply was a faint chuckle, neither cruel nor kind. Greater than we shall see, child of fire and will. And as the sun rose over Konoha, Naruto's shadow stretched long and golden, half man, half god, destined to walk forever between both worlds. The sun climbed higher over Konoha, washing the rooftops in gold. From the streets below came the familiar clatter of morning, merchants opening stalls, children laughing, ninja beginning their missions. Life went on, untouched by the storm that had raged above it. And on the Hokage monument, Naruto stood in silence. He had finally calmed the chaos within him. The flood of voices that had once threatened to drown him had receded to a distant whisper. The god still lived in his blood, ancient and unyielding, but for now it was quiet, watching. Naruto exhaled slowly. Each breath felt like a promise that he would remain himself. The last conversation. Inside the seal, Kurama lounged with his tails coiled around him, eyeing the boy he had once called foolish. So, you really think you can live like this? Half man, half something else. Naruto grinned weakly. I've been half of a lot of things my whole life, half accepted, half understood. Guess this is just one more. Quote, Kurama huffed. You'll regret it someday. Maybe, Naruto said, but until that day comes, I'll live like me. The fox closed his eyes. HMPH. Don't make me clean up your mess if you crack again. Quote, Naruto laughed, a real laugh, small but genuine, and the sound echoed through the quiet mindscape like sunlight through dark clouds. A moment of stillness. He sat down at the edge of the monument, legs dangling over the village he loved. The wind brushed through his hair, carrying the smell of rain and the faint sound of children playing below. He let it all in. Not through godly senses, but through human ones, eyes, ears, heart. This, he whispered, is enough. Quote, the god's voice answered softly from within, not a command this time, but a reflection. Greater than you would choose imperfection, even when perfection lies within reach. Naruto smiled at the horizon. Perfection's lonely. This world, these people, they're messy, loud, stubborn, but they're real. Answer am I. For the first time, the divine presence said nothing. Only silence, and maybe, just maybe, a hint of understanding. The flame that endures. Clouds drifted overhead. The wall of fire, the spirit that bound Konoha together, seemed to shimmer within him, burning brighter than any divine light. It was the one thing even gods could never create, the human will to keep going, no matter how small. Naruto looked down at the village again, the corner of his mouth lifting. Yeah, I'll protect this place. Not as a god, just as Naruto Uzumaki. He stood, the wind tugging at his cloak, the first rays of noon turning his eyes into twin sparks of blue gold. Far above, unseen, the god's presence murmured one last time. Greater than then walk, child of fire. Walk your fragile world. I will wait, until eternity tests your heart again. Closing scene. Naruto turned away from the monument and began the slow walk back into the village. Each step felt lighter, each heartbeat more human. As he passed through the gates, a few villagers bowed instinctively, sensing something divine without knowing why. He only smiled and waved. To them, he was still their Hokage, the same boy who once swore he'd be recognized. They didn't see the god within him. They only saw Naruto. And for now, that was enough. If you enjoy this fanfic then please like and subscribe my channel Narutofix 11 for more fanfic. Thank you.